All right, what up, what up, what up? It's another episode of Ball N Biz. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Make sure you give us that like, give us that subscribe. Trying to get the count up, trying to get the podcast out there, trying to get the conversations up. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jeremy. Welcome back to Ball N Biz, where, of course, we're always talking about sports as former D1 football players and, of course, business because, we're in our young 30s and we're trying to get this bread up. So that's exactly why we created this pod, and hopefully you guys see benefit. Let's get it.
Man, a lot of news and notes today. We'll start with the money side, Jeremy. We don't talk enough about money, but we're going to talk about it a little bit today. We're going to start off with some notes. Obviously, everybody's probably heard about tariffs, Canada, Mexico, China. Economy's been a little bit up and down, recession fears growing, this and that. Trump raised tariffs on Canada for steel and aluminum recently. He's already put them in against them. Mexico, he threatened it. Chinese got it. So, prices are going up. Bird flu, obviously stuff going up at the grocery store too. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Trump also talked about that crypto reserve, strategic reserve. Is it a big deal? Is it not? We'll talk about some of the research that I did. And everybody's probably noticed whether it's your 401k or your personal income. Market's been up and down, left and right, up and down. People don't know what to do. We'll talk a little bit about what we're doing and just kind of what we see, but also in the sports world. NFL free agency, it's been crazy the past couple of days. March Madness is also upon us. The conference tourney is already tipping off, so all that stuff's good. Bitcoin is down. That's 81,000 right now. Dow, the market's dropped to 350 points right now. It's midday Tuesday. So that's down as well. So, like I said, a lot of turmoil. First thing we'll talk about, though, the crypto, the market's on the move. Everybody's talking about recession. We going in it. We not. Donald Trump's already said we could, which isn't a good sign. Jerm, where are you at with all your finances, with all your projects? Obviously big picture. Like, what are you thinking this time?
Yeah. So, first off, even interest rates, my projects primarily consist of real estate. And so that's where I'm heavily invested in. I know some people love the stock market, which, it is good to diversify, but somewhere where I put most of my chips is in real estate. And just from that perspective, not great. It's not great. Simply due to the fact that interest rates are what they are. They're very high. And because of that, a lot of buyers just aren't buying. I'm somebody who buys distressed homes. I fix them up and I sell them. Well, if there's no buyers out there because they're scared of the interest rates, that allows these houses to just sit on the market and collect dust. And so you just kind of have to reconvene your strategy. Something that you thought was going to sell in 6 months is now sitting for 8 or 9. So now you got to think about putting the long-term tenant in there just so you can get some cash flow going. So it's not just completely collecting dust. You are just getting some type of income from that on a monthly basis. So from a real estate perspective, across the board, it's not just here in the Midwest, it's across the board. Everybody's dealing with the same interest rate. So in times like this, you just got to you have to reconvene and adjust your strategy. Maybe you refinance and you decide to hold on to it and put a tenant in there so you do get some cash flow. Maybe you decide to drop your price a little bit and just call it even just so you can get rid of it so you're not having to pay this monthly mortgage that you thought you would have been out of 6 months ago. So it's also important when it comes to businesses to adjusting to the times. And it's not that times are going to be it's not going to always be like this, but in times that they are, it's time to adjust.
And that's one of the best pieces of advice that I heard from an entrepreneurial standpoint. You got to adjust to whatever the situation is, good, bad, or indifferent. Going off what you said there right there, Federal Reserve Chairman Jerome Powell had already said they're in no hurry to change rates based on they want to see more information about how the economy is going to roll. Is it going to stay up? Is it going to stay down? What are these tariffs going to do? What else could happen? So with the knowledge that the interest rates will remain the same, you still going to carry out that plan? What is your long-term plan? Does that at least give you some solidarity, knowing that, hey, we're in this for the long run, how it is now?
Yeah, for sure. And one thing that we've done is we've actually transitioned to new construction, and we found land, for quote unquote cheap or really cost-effective price. And now our goal is to just kind of refinance after the construction is built and then we can take some cash out due to the equity in that home, and then put long-term tenants in there. That's our plan, and that's how we're adjusting to where we're still making money from the refinance due to the fact that we're getting in at such a low rate. So that's how we're adjusting. And I will say this: had we not went through these rough patches from fix and flips, we would have never even discovered or adjusted our mindset to even attack new construction. So that's how we're adjusting. And you have to adjust with the times. That's part of being an entrepreneur. That's a part of getting this bread.
And let me ask you this. So, okay, you talk about building. Okay, I just talked about steel tariffs, not 50%. Timber, we get a lot of timber from Canada. That's also being tariffed as well. You worried about some of these building costs going up? You know, you're kind of getting hit on both sides, or what are you thinking?
Yes and no. Cost of material, I mean, is always kind of fluctuating up and down. That's why you just got to try to buy in bulk. That's my best answer. Buy in bulk, not one at a time.
Yeah.
So,
and when in terms of your investment to cash stockpile ratio, what are you thinking? You know, obviously with hard times, possibly, you know, I'm not gonna say most likely, I'm no expert, but possibly ahead by a lot of indicators. What are you thinking? You stockpiling, you cutting back other things to make sure you can still put that investment out to the side like you do and stockpile cash, or what are you thinking about?
Yeah, you got to tighten up. I'm somebody who I believe in real estate, so I'm definitely not slowing down in real estate, because if it's one thing I do know, people always need a place to live, period. Yeah. And because of that, especially because people really can't afford, especially millennials, people in our generation, they can't. If you don't already have a house, it's going to be really, really hard to afford one. And because of that, that creates more renters. And I hate to say it, people like me, who I'm a landlord, I own properties, I can raise that price a little bit now because of the demand. It's supply and demand. We learned that in econ in senior year high school. It's no different here. So I'm sitting pretty. Did I have to adjust? Sure, but can I up prices elsewhere to keep my cash heavy? Yes. So that's how I'm adjusting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm thinking about cash too. I've been sticking with the gig jobs, back on DoorDash, trying to make it work. You know, just the extra cash coming in here and there, a little bit extra each week. One thing I'm looking at though too is, you know, look, bad times don't last forever, just like the good times either. You know, and I'm not saying now is the good time to put the money in. But, you know, whether you're looking at stocks, whether you're looking at crypto, whether you're looking at anything, heck, even home prices, the price itself, interest rate aside, everything's going down. So now is the time to get it, you know, now's the time to, you know, cut back the extras, beef up. You know, for me, you know, I'm at least looking at it. I'm not going all in every time, but I'm putting a drop in here, drop in there. Hey, hit a new low, or hey, it stayed down for the past couple of days. Put a couple drops in the bucket there, because when it does eventually shoot, then I got all this stuff on value, and I'll be happy down the line, even though it's not tight, but you know, it's you know, I'm not what you want to see now. Trying to get as much on discount, but yeah, I've been out there on the road trying to get that money for the Grubhub, the DoorDash, that extra side money, because that cash would be critical, especially if things continue to bottom out too.
Cash is king. Try to get as much of it as you can. Cash is king.
Talking about the crypto, so one thing, last week, President Trump had announced a national, the crypto reserve, you know, basically it'd be a national reserve of coins, and have been, you know, like anything else, like gold, same standard, where you hedge against the instability. First, people were excited about it, but then it kind of, once you get into the details, there's no plans for the U.S. to buy more Bitcoin and other crypto assets, Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, and there was one more I'm forgetting about off the top of my head. But one thing that is good about it, though, at least it shows the initiative by the government that door could be opened down the line. So some people are excited about that. Hey, at least they're acknowledging it. Hey, at least there's already something set up. Whether or not it looks like you want it to look like right now is one thing, but at least the door is there, and the door is open down the line. So I haven't forgotten about it. It looks ugly, and it does. I remember you got some a few weeks ago. I'm sure it looks ugly.
Did, and I haven't bought any more, but it's still in there. Still in there.
And see, I've been, you know,
eventually it's gonna shoot back up, right? Because right now I'm down. I'm down. Hey, eventually it's gonna shoot up though.
Most of us are down. If you've been in the past, you know, unless you've just been in a while and just haven't bought any when it shot up. But I'm down, but hey, I'm buying in. I've gotten more because when it shoots up, it's going to be bigger than it was when I got what I had now. So yeah, I'm all in for it, and I'm, hey, you just got to ride it out. If it's got to be PB&Js, it's got to be PB&Js for dinner. Got to put the stakes down. You know what I mean? But that's cool with me. Like I said, I'm doing what I need to on the side, and gig jobs, anything on the side would be good too, especially because you don't know. Like we were in high school when they had the recession the last time in 2008. Obviously, we didn't have to experience that as an adult. Now, obviously, would be a different circumstance, but I'm just making sure I'm ready for whatever comes at me.
Right. We got kids to feed. We got kids.
Right.
Get it.
We definitely do. So we're gonna move on. I know we talk about the games normally. Nice to have a little money conversation. We're gonna definitely have more of those coming up, especially when we get a clear picture of what the economy looks like. But hard times ahead for Stephen A and LeBron right now too. We know they had the dust up. We know it was about Bronny. Both of them have pretty much confirmed it one way or another. I'll start off on this topic. Look, when we like LeBron, we love LeBron. LeBron, the best player to put on basketball shoes in the history of Earth. He's got all the records. He's got all the accolades. He's great on and off the court for many reasons. But I'm getting real sick of LeBron's attitude. Okay? I went off last time about the All-Star game when he's showing up late, not wearing the uniform, taking up a spot from a guy who would be healthy, who probably would. You don't know how many times you're going to get to go to the All-Star game. I don't know who was the immediate reserve off the top of my head, but come on, Bron.
LaMelo Ball was the immediate. Him or Sabonis.
Sabonis, another guy, well-deserved. You don't know how many you're going to get, and we know LaMelo dang near should have been in it by himself, a young guy who's got a lot of game. So why is LeBron taking that? Selfish, right? Selfish. Let's call it what it is. He being selfish. He going after Stephen A. We're talking about Bronny. Now, Bronny in the G League, great. Bronny's a second rounder. We get it. Bronny in the G League averaging 25 and 5. Good. Keep it up. Because honestly, we didn't know if he'd do that. He didn't play that much in college due to the health issue. We're glad he's over it. Well, we didn't know what he'd do. But as a pro, he's 1.5 points a game, half a rebound a game, and half an assist a game. And I rounded up for those. Right? Woo! He's shooting he's shooting 25% from the field. Right? I told you I went to the game when he was there and everybody was rooting for him. Nobody's against him, but at the same time, just like Bronny's got a job to do, we got a job to do. And just because LeBron, your job as his parent, first and foremost, don't have nothing to do with the rest of us, including Stephen A. Now, we get it. LeBron, you was the one who was talking about Bronny better than half the dudes in the league. Lightweight, funny. You said that, Bron. Bron, you were the one who said I wanted to play with the father and son, and we all support it. I don't even care if it was nepotism. I really don't. I just wanted to see it. I'm glad I saw it. I'm glad it happened, and I'm glad for them. I don't even know him. We don't know him, but I'm glad for him. But dang it, LeBron, if he's going to be put out there every night and get exposed the way he does, we got to talk about it. We can't not talk about it. If it was anybody else, he'd be talked about. So come on. I do get sick of Bron being so dang sensitive. It's annoying enough to watch a basketball game with him when he crying to the refs all the time. He's not the only one. Quite frankly, his teammate Luka does it just as bad. They got to cut that out.
Or worse.
I mean, they're both horrible. They might be 1 or 2 in the league for that alone. It's horrible. Now he's coming after Stephen A. for saying the boy ain't playing up the NBA standards. So what? Because quite frankly, LeBron, it's your fault 100%. Lakers wouldn't have done that. JJ and them wouldn't have done that. Well, I don't even know if JJ wasn't even coaching. I don't think
JJ wasn't even. Well, he was the coach then.
Well, like a week on his out. Anyway, we know he had just got there, right? The Lakers wouldn't have done that if you hadn't specifically asked for it. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, and as a father myself, I get it from the father standpoint. But at the same time, like Ryan Clark said, you got to separate the father and the athlete. Because at the end of the day, Bronny is his teammate. And once he puts on that LA Lakers uniform, he's now open for criticism and praise. And because he's not playing up to par, today we choose criticism or critiquing, or we're just covering the NBA at this point. We're just calling a spade a spade. We're calling it like, hey, Bronny's not playing to NBA standards. He does not belong in entering a game in the first quarter of a National Basketball Association game, which was another big thing. Why is JJ putting him out there in the first quarter? Oh, why? Because LeBron wanted him out there. That's why. Let's call it like it is. And because of that, LeBron can't be mad when you brought your son to the NBA. You knew he wasn't NBA ready. You knew that. You have one of the highest IQs in the history of the game. You know what good basketball looks like. And you know your son is an NBA player. You know that. But you also know that you wanted him to come on here so you could be the first father-son duo to ever be on the NBA court in the same jersey together. That's what you did want. But what you didn't think about was that he wasn't NBA ready. And because of that, Bronny probably don't even like basketball because of your selfishness, quite frankly.
Yeah. That's quite frankly what it comes down to. LeBron being selfish. And I looked it up. And you said something about being a dad. I had the dad in him. Okay, people get on parents for getting on high school coaches. Bronny getting paid over $1 million to play basketball. I don't want to hear anything from anybody's parent. You getting paid, you take this criticism. I don't mind the parent being involved, whether that's his teammate, his coach, or strictly his parent. That's cool. Just staying involved, that's cool. But you can't get on people for telling the truth. The boy ain't playing up the NBA standards, period. That's fine. He getting an NBA check, you need to play up the NBA standards. If not, you talked about. Everybody goes to the game and watches that. We're not going to no AAU game. This is the NBA game. Come on now. He getting paid. He's a pro. Quite frankly, he a grown man. He graduated high school, didn't he? He a grown man. He don't need you talking for him no more. You're holding him back, if anything. He got something to say, Stephen A. He can go say it. And Stephen A. can say, you getting 1.5 points a game, 1.4 points a game. Son, go work and shoot around. Don't work your mouth to me.
Yeah. Yeah. At some point, again, he has to separate the two. LeBron wasn't getting on Stephen A. when Stephen A. was talking about Anthony Davis, when he was talking about how he doesn't show up when the lights are brightest. LeBron didn't get on Stephen A. when he was talking about him. But since this is my teammate, but he's also my son, so you can't say that. Nah, LeBron, that's not how it works, big dog.
Yeah, it's that sensitive and that's that entitlement. Some of this might be too. Hey, he can see the writing on the wall. They got in Luka. He's no longer the star of the show for the first time, maybe ever.
We see LeBron knows that his replacement is now his teammate. He knows that.
And that might be hard for him to swallow. Hard pill for him to swallow. Hey, I got to do this, or, it might not be thick. I don't know what it is, and I'm not going to try and guess. But I will say you're being sensitive. Stephen A. doing his job, talking about prominent NBA players for whatever reason. You get mad about something, go do the dunk contest, Brian. I don't care if you're 40 or not. You got all this extra energy. Mm-hmm. Man, let's talk about extra energy, though, too. We got a lot of movement when the free NFL free agency, the draft wrapped up in Indy. Free agency is upon us. Guys getting big checks. Whether it's Justin Fields to the Jets, Danny Dimes to the Colts, Vontae Adams on the move. What's his name in Cleveland? Myles Garrett got the re-signing. Talk about the quarterbacks, though. Darnold to the Seahawks, Geno on the move to the Raiders. What move at the quarterback position have you liked? What do you think who do you think will have the biggest impact on their team? Not necessarily win the Super Bowl, but who's going to take their team, at least make them better or make them worse? What do you like?
I like Justin Fields to the Jets, and here's why. Justin Fields is a really good football player. He needed some development, and I think he definitely needed to get out of Chicago. Chicago is a place where it's hard to thrive there in that environment. Okay, cool. Now he goes to Pittsburgh. He learns under Russell Wilson. He had some flashes where he was actually, playing well for the Steelers. Okay, cool. Russ takes the starting role. Justin takes more of a backseat. Cool. But regardless, he had that veteran presence who he can now go learn from. Now we clipped his wings again, and now he's with the New York Jets organization, which I think could change the scenery for him. Plus, he had that veteran, kind of leadership in Russ that he's just coming off of. I like the move, quite frankly, because I don't think the Jets defense is still the Jets defense. They got a defense. That's never been the issue. And if we know anything, the defense wins championships. Just ask the Philadelphia Eagles. Okay, New York Jets defense is great. It's the offense that was the issue. Why was it the issue? Because Aaron Rodgers was horrible last year. I think Justin Fields go out there and provides a spark for that offense, He's back with his teammate Garrett Wilson at wideout. Yeah, we lost Devontae Adams. That's cool. But a change of scenery plus a good defense can do you wonders. Let's get it, Justin Fields.
So statistically based, Rodgers did finish the year solid, kind of middle of the pack. He definitely didn't hurt him. You know, Rodgers' more problem is off the field. Are you going to get on the podcast every week, talk all this and that, and take off time and this and that? There's two deals I like. One, I think the first deal, I can't even say it with a straight face because I don't even like that team no more. But that team out in LA, I thought they did a good job bringing Matt Stafford back. I think it was a 2-year deal, but next year specifically, that's going to be their window. NFC West, wide open. Seahawks got rid of DK. They're bringing in Sam Darnold. How will Sam Darnold look without Kevin McConnell up there on the Vikings? I think he'll be he ain't going to be better. I'll say that. So you got that going for you. Arizona's still work in progress. 49ers just got rid of half their team. It's the time for that team out in LA that I'm not going to name. It's the time for them right now where they can have one last gasp at the current window that they're looking at. They got Vontae Adams. You got Puka Nacua. They say Cooper Kupp may come back. Let's just say he doesn't. You still got Kyron at running back, and you still got a defense that's coming up, and you got a quarterback who can sling it. Now, he's got to stay upright. He's got to stay upright. He can't have that back hurt him. He can't have something else hurt him. But if Matt Stafford can sling it, you got Vontae on one side and Cooper on the other, and you can run it up the gut with ease, and they got some decent tight ends. That could be the move. You know, he didn't go anywhere. They re-signed him, but they did say, hey, you can go explore. And he explored, and the search didn't take long. You know, he wasn't Dora the Explorer out here. He came right back home because obviously the city is the city. The weather is the weather. That's all self-explanatory in a brand new stadium dang near. Life is great. You're comfortable. You know the playbook. You know the coaches. You know the personnel. I like that move bringing Stafford back. And it gives them a window. And, you know, let's see what they got behind them, too. You know, they got the kid from Georgia a couple of years ago. Who's the quarterback? The backup quarterback.
Oh, Stetson Bennett.
Stetson Bennett. You know, obviously he's done on the college level. You know, he had a little struggles in the NFL at first. But, you know, like I say all the time, it's good, especially for some of these young quarterbacks, sit out at least a couple games, if not a year, learn it. And when you hop in, it's way easier. So, you know, he could be right there waiting in the win. So they got a perfect backup opportunity ready. But that team is ready right now. And they're in a great division to do that in. I like that. The second move the second thing that I like hasn't happened yet. Who are the Steelers going to get? Now, I know you said you didn't like Aaron Rodgers. Now, I'll take Aaron Rodgers if he's going to come in and play football. Because they already got DK. You got another team, 2 wideouts. Who are you going to cover? You can't just go one-on-one with both of them. What are you going to do with DK and Pickens?
My only caveat to that is the Jets had 2 receivers too, Adams and Wilson.
They did. That's fair. No, that's fair. But I'll say this. Aaron had dang near broken the team by that point. The coach was gone. When? Because they traded for Vontae in week 5, week 6, something?
Yeah.
Mid-season trade. You know, the coach had already been fired. He'd already missed the practice. You know, it was already on the verge of being broken. And not to mention, this is the Jets. I'm doing this at the bottom of the screen. The Steelers are up here as a franchise in terms of just getting things right, knowing what to do. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah. I mean, hey, if Tomlin can come in and if it says, hey, Aaron, because here's the deal. I think for them, I don't know. I'm no NFL insider. I'm not saying that. I'm just telling you 2 quarterback names that are out there that we've heard Aaron's name get floated. We've heard Russ's name get floated. I think I'd rather have Aaron's arm on the field, to be honest. But Russ overall is a little bit steadier of a pick. And you know what you're going to get with Russ. And they still didn't get over that hump with Russ. With Aaron, he knows. Hey, I mean, at this point, the man got more lives than a cat, right? I mean, we thought he was only last life in New York, and it was done after that. If he gets one more chance, and Tomlin says, "Hey, all I need you to do is shut up, come to practice, and come to the game. I don't need to see you on Pat McAfee. I don't need to see you on ESPN. I don't need to see you on Twitter. I don't need to see you in Egypt on an ayahuasca tour doing God knows what. I just need you here playing football and shutting the hell up." Maybe talk. We know he can mentor some of the younger guys in film and that. That's great, and I'll do that because the Steelers, they ain't had a real quarterback since Big Ben. Really. I mean, Russ and Fields last year, sure. But they haven't had a solid long-term option is what I mean.
Right.
If you bring Aaron in to do that, I mean, because they got now what they're going to do at running back, I don't know. I mean, they might be.
They just got rid of Harris.
I know Harris just signed with the Chargers, which could be good. We know Harbaugh likes a good running back, and that could be good. You know, I think maybe a good change of pace for Harris too, because you know he would kind of look the part, and then it just wasn't happening. But he's a 1,000-yard rusher. Yeah. But even though you watch the games and you're like, really, you know, so good change of pace for him could be good. Interesting to see what he can do out in Cali. But man, if the Steelers get this right, and you go find a running back, sure up on the position. You got JJ Watt, not JJ. You got TJ Watt out there, Minka Fitzpatrick. You've got guys on the defense. You've got a shell of that Steelers team, but you need somebody to lead it this year specifically, and also in the future with two guys like DK. Sorry, hiccups with DK and Pickens. I mean, it's hard in this passing league to stop the two guys like that. Even though I know what you said, now Aaron stopped him a little bit while he was throwing the ball. He was also doing all the bull crap off the field. Just come in and play football, Steelers football. I don't know. That could be exciting.
It could. And hey, look, the Steelers also have a defense. I mean, they got Watt coming off the edge. The defense is solid. Anytime you got a dynamic pass rusher like that, and you bring in Rodgers with that type of experience, it could be DK Metcalf, Pickens. Shoot, let's get it.
Yeah, and they run it. Somebody throw the ball. So
let's run it.
We'll see.
Because I mean, we'll think they are that piece away. I do, and I'm talking about at the quarterback position. Yeah, Russ is Russ, but I mean, in the right situation, I think Aaron can still create some magic.
He can, and he showed flashes of it. Got to keep him upright too. I don't know what a 45-year-old hitting the ground in that cold Pittsburgh dirt will look like, but probably ugly. But we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, other names out there, Jameis. He's still out there, you know. The Browns.
Jameis needs to keep a microphone in his hand. He's very entertaining. He might make more money off the field.
Hey, I can see him. You know, I can see Jameis going to a Barstool full time. They just pay him a bag. Hey, Jameis, we're gonna send you around every Sunday. You're gonna be around town and around the field. Hey, this is your deal. And Jameis might, hey, great. But you know, the Saints, the Browns still haven't decided what they're going to do. Obviously, we know Cam and Shador are going to be the top two QBs off the boards. The Giants, they signed Danny DeVito. And according to some of the reports we're saying, the coaches are telling Danny DeVito, you're the guy until further notice. I know some Giants fans are beside themselves.
Yeah. It'll be interesting now that, you know, D. Jones is an Indianapolis Colt. Shout out to the squad here in town. You know, I don't mind.
He's going to be the starter week 5.
Week 5, Daniel Jones will be our starter. I'm not high on Anthony Richardson. I just don't think he's there. Quite frankly, I just don't think he's there. He's super raw. He's only played, you know, half of the games he was supposed to play, and he's going in year 3. Very injury prone. Doesn't have he's just not a great passer, and as you know, great passers really don't last in this league. Yeah. It's unfortunate. Do I think he can stay in the league for a long time? Great, sure. But I think that the NFL isn't a developmental league, especially at the quarterback position. It's not JV football. This isn't JV football. It's not the G League. It's not a developmental league. You're supposed to. It's a fine-tuning league. That's what it is. All right, once we draft you, we can fine tune some things, but it's not a developmental league, and that's the approach that the Colts took while picking him at number 4 so high. They were thinking that they could develop him, but how is he going to be developed if he has no? He's just not starting from a great foundation, and because of that,
keep going.
And because of that, he's just not starting from a great foundation, and I think that he's going to continue to struggle. And as somebody who watches all 60 minutes of all 17 games of the Indianapolis Colts, I think Daniel Jones will be our starter. And especially if we add Warren, the tight end out of Penn State, that's who we're projected to draft. That'd be another weapon at tight end. And, you know, we got some decent receivers in Josh Downs and Pittman, and our receivers aren't terrible. And we did add some pieces On the back end, defensively, we got Sardarius, we got C. Ward from the 49ers. Shardarius, yeah, it's hard to pronounce, but Shardarius Ward from the 49ers, which was a giant pickup at cornerback. And then we got Bynum, the safety from Minnesota as well. So those are two solid pickups, very active in free agency. I'm not mad at it. Our D-line is already solid. In a weak division that I think we might be able to sneak in with a wild card with just a little bit better quarterback play. I'm not saying we're going to win the division because I still think the Houston Texans still come out right of our division, but I do think we can sneak in wild card. We weren't a horrible team last year. We were just a very average team. So I think if you tweak our quarterback play just a little bit, I don't think Daniel Jones is a long-term solution, but I do think he's a good 2-year Band-Aid.
You want him to draft the tight end?
Absolutely. Warren is a stud out of Penn State. He's a stud. Absolutely. Let's get him. Add another offensive weapon. Let's get it. And we already have a premier running back in Jonathan Taylor. Come on, let's get it. Let's run it.
Yeah, it's time. Y'all got to take advantage of that because that window's not going to be open forever.
We got
maybe
1.5 more years with him.
Yeah. One more thing. Give everybody one last bit of info right now. I know it's hard time. Oh, my phone's going off. It's across the room. Hard times in front of a lot of people, don't know what the stress and don't want the money. Going back to the money, one piece of advice as a entrepreneur, what would you say to people right now trying to figure things out?
Yeah, you're trying to figure things out. Just adjust. Use this time as a learning curve. Think how you can adjust your strategy. Maybe your strategy 6 months ago, maybe not be the one that is working today. Go ahead and adjust and keep pushing because, as Ryan said, hard times don't last. So just make those tweaks, buy the dip, and just keep on adjusting and keep on pushing forward because we're going to look up 6 months, 8 months, a year from now like, oh, I wish I would have kept going. You don't want to have any regrets. So just keep on pushing forward. You'll be all right.
No, we're not financial advisors or anything like that. But in terms of aggressive to conservative scale, not necessarily in business, but just overall thinking, where would you stand with so much uncertainty?
I'm still an aggressive just because I am an entrepreneur. So I have a high risk aversion when it comes to entrepreneurship in general. I know most people aren't that way, but it's just kind of how I am and how I've built to where I am now. But I will say if you do have, if you are more on the conservative side, just tighten up a little bit. Tighten up. Maybe you eat in instead of eating out. Maybe you pick up, some DoorDash on the side. Maybe you make a couple extra bucks here and there that you weren't bringing in, maybe a month or two ago. Make those small tweaks because those small tweaks can add up over time.
Yeah, I mean, be smart. You know what I mean? You don't know what's around the corner. You can lose your job tomorrow. Everybody is in a different situation. I wouldn't say stop going forward. I'm not saying that by any means, but be smart. Like you said, cut this back. Stop eating out back. One thing I do with the DoorDash, I'm on the bike now instead of the car. Here in DC, a lot of traffic, this and that, wasn't that efficient with the car anyway. Now, ash power is cheaper than gas power. The price of gas is going to go, is expected to rise too. That's one of the other things. So, just be smart with the situation, still move forward, but mitigate some of the extra and make sure you got some pads, some comfort behind you. But we're going to talk more about this. Hopefully next couple episodes coming up too, especially as we got to get a better picture of what everything's going to shake down as. Next episode too, going to be a good opportunity. March Madness is upon us. We're going to try and hook up some special things for that. Talk about get your brackets right and things like that. Get your bets right. Time to get back into it with the bets. Germ, you got any games or anything you're looking at as we close out the episode?
Yeah. Tonight we're going Pacers Bucks. Bucks are coming to town. I'll be in attendance. And I'm sorry to say it, Pacers, but I'm going to take Bucks minus 142. We're not playing great basketball right now. We're on a 3-game skid. Milwaukee's coming to, keep moving their way up the East. I don't see us winning this game. Unfortunately, we do not get back on track tonight. I'm taking Bucks minus 142.
Yeah, I'm going to take a big one here. I'm going to go. I know the tourney is probably coming up in a couple days, but it'll happen before we get out. I like them Johnnies to win the Big East tourney. Rick Pitino got them rolling. You know, SEC tourney is going to be very up in the air. A lot of good teams there. Big Ten, same thing to a lesser degree. But I like St. John's in the Big East tourney. Can't wait to catch that action too. So we're going to be tuned in. We're going to be doing it. Hit that like, hit that subscribe button. Give us your feedback on what you want us to talk about. Like I said, March Madness coming up. We're here for it. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Jeremy.
We'll see y'all next episode. Ball N Biz.
Peace.